Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, November 20th, and we got a lot to talk about. First, another possible Google unconfirmed algorithm update on November 17th and 18th. Are we going to have a Google core update by the end of the year? Lots of things around algorithms, passage indexing, manual actions, and so much more. A lot to discuss. You don't want to miss it. And of course, thanks to our sponsor, Loud Interactive, SEO firm based in Chicago, led by Brent D. Payne. Thank you so much for sponsoring. All right, first up, like we discussed earlier, it looks like there was a possible Google algorithm update, search algorithm update that happened around November 17th and 18th. Google did not confirm it. It wasn't massive. I didn't hound them to confirm anything. Google's obviously always updating things and things are always changing. But between the different chatter in different forums and social media and the tools, there definitely seemed to be some large update that happened at Google on November 17th and 18th. Talking about algorithm updates, John Mueller said Google is always considerate about releasing updates around the holidays. So we haven't had a Google Core update in over 6 months. It was May 4th, which was the last release of a Google Core update. Usually Google updates or pushes out a Core update every 3 or so months, 4 times per year. We only had 2 this year, one in January, I believe, and one in May, and we haven't had one since. So the question is Google going to release one? He says he basically is cautious about it. He doesn't want to say it's going to be released in 2020, at all. And the reason for that is he doesn't want. They're concerned about causing too much disruption around the holiday seasons. Of course, Google has released updates and core updates and other updates previously in historical times around Google Core, around holidays. So it has happened, and I do believe I think we'll have a core update. I think we'll have a core update by the end of the year. I just don't think it's going to happen necessarily before Black Friday, which is, I guess, a week from tomorrow. Although everything's online and Black Friday already started, so I guess we will see. But I do think we'll have one beforehand. I'm not sure or whatever. In that same video, John Mueller was talking about how he likes Google search updates that are not jarring, that are not like, oh, you got hit by a penalty, your rankings drop like 100% or something like that, or even 70% or even 30%. He likes the ones that slowly, gradually roll out. And you see that historically where the old updates would, roll out on a specific date, and you would see over the next 2 days or so, your rankings drop significantly, like losing 20, 30, 40, 80% of your traffic literally overnight. But then Google has tweaked those algorithms, like the Panda and Penguin ones, over time to be more gradual. So it would take weeks for you to slowly lose your rankings, kind of a painful, slow death. So I'm not sure what's better, but John seems to like the more gradual, slow, painful deaths versus the immediate, like, sudden deaths, I guess if you want to call it that. There is a bug where if you go to Google Search Console and you have manual actions and you click on the manual action viewer, it's going to show you that you have no manual actions. It's a bug. Google's aware of it. I don't know what the issue is exactly, but Google is investigating it. Don't be excited if you do not have a manual action. You probably still have that manual action. It's just not showing up as a manual action. Martin Splitt from Google was interviewed this week around passes indexing, and he never likes to answer ranking related questions, so he was kind of on the spot and he didn't feel 100% comfortable covering passage indexing, but he did because it was called indexing. It's really actually ranking, as he discussed in the video. And there was probably 2 things I want you to pull out from that we haven't really discussed in detail yet. One is, we kind of discussed this. We discussed it a few weeks ago, that you can't really optimize for passage indexing. It's really, like John Mueller said weeks and weeks ago, that it's really about Google better understanding unoptimized pages that are not optimized, that are really poor. Pages that are already optimized rank well, so you don't have to worry about it. This is really about Google surfacing pages that are not optimized. And I like the quote that Martin Splitt said. It's basically passage indexing is like a lifeline for pages that are in buried or diluted content. I like that, a lifeline for those types of pages that are buried or in diluted content. That's a really great way of thinking about it. Second thing he also mentioned was giving a more detailed example of how feature snippets and passage indexing are completely different. He said they use completely different systems. Feature snippets kind of are really good at highlighting answers really quickly, whereas passage indexing might not highlight the answer. It just might, it's basically going to show the 10 blue links. It's not going to highlight an answer. It's basically going to be able to dig into a piece of content that's long and highlight that in a snippet in a search result without actually giving you the answer. This is going to be a snippet, a 10 blue link. The question is, what is that going to look like? He doesn't really know. There's a lot of questions, and we're really looking forward to seeing some testing of that. We have not, and I repeat, we have not seen this live and being tested yet. I don't know if we ever will be able to understand if it actually is live or tested. But there are SEOs that are claiming they have seen it. I have not seen a real example of it yet. If you do see it, let me know. Be really, really excited to see something. Google has finally migrated the Disavow link tool to the new Search Console. This has been going on for years. With the discussion, is it going to ever migrate? Google asked surveys saying, do you really need it? Do you want it? Or maybe we should get rid of it. But Google kept it. They moved it. They added some features to it. They improved the interface. They let you download the Disavow file as a text file. And they actually provide more error reporting for uploaded files that are no longer limited to just 10 errors. You can actually see a lot more errors there. So it is live. It's been migrated. This is actually migrated over 10 years, over a year, I think like 11 or 12 months after Google actually officially shut down the old Google Search Console. Google also has updated the remove outdated content tool. So again, if you have to remove content really quickly and you own that content and you have verified access to Google Search Console, use Google Search Console. But if it's a third-party site you do not have access to, Google has updated the tool that people would use to remove outdated content in Google search results. So definitely take a look at that. Microsoft and Google both said that their organic search bots and their ad bots both use the same shared crawl budget, meaning that if Google Ads bot or what on the Microsoft side, the Adixbot, if those bots are crawling, you might want to adjust your crawl rate according to Microsoft to handle the additional load on campaigns. So if you're creating a new campaign on Microsoft, Microsoft even said that maybe you want to increase your crawl budget if you know you're launching campaign. Google has not said that, but they do both share crawl budgets because they don't want to take down the site. Of course, what does Google share across organic and ads? This is kind of a little bit like, oh, we don't share any resources. There's no sharing between organic and ads, and this is an example of Google doing that. At the same time, we know Googlebot infrastructure stuff is shared across ads and organic, and it makes sense to protect the site's health to actually go ahead and control and make sure they're doing the best to not take down the site, and that makes sense. So I have more information about that on the Search Engine Roundtable. Google released a podcast this week, the Search Off the Record podcast with Gary, Martin Splitt, John Mueller, and they had a guest this week, Pascal, from the Google team as well. I think he's more on the Chrome Web Stories side. In any event, they talked about indexing issues around images, around audio and video files, indexing AMP. They talked a little bit about web stories, and then how things launch at Google with launch freezes. So definitely take a look at that if you want to learn more. It's a great podcast. I definitely recommend it. Google My Business has a bug, it looks like, with replies from owners. So you know how if you're an owner, you have Google My Business, you could actually reply to the Google Search Console, the Google My Business console to replies that are left by you. But it seems like some people are saying those replies are not showing up. I tested it, I'm able to see it, but some people are not able to see it. Google My Business is also testing a new dashboard, has a bunch more icons to make things a little bit faster. Here's a screenshot of it so you can actually see it. Google Local Q&A seems to be limiting some people to show only 440 characters for the answers in the Q&A as opposed to the 1,000 characters. I think there might be a bug and they may have fixed it by now. Google Ads is now recommending you switch to use broad match with smart bidding. Again, a lot of SEOs, a lot of PPCers do not like to use broad match because Google's way of handling broad match is extremely broad. And now Google is actually hiding a lot of search data. The search term report is hiding a lot of information from you, so Google doesn't. So a lot of PPCers do not like to use broad match. So Google Ads is reportedly automatically changing some people's accounts through a new beta, which is called the Auto Applied Recommendation Control Center. So if you opt in for that, supposedly this is even working for people who didn't initially opt in, but Google might be automatically opting in some people to it, which again, Google has not confirmed. But if you are in this Auto Applied Recommendation Control Center, Google may automatically change your campaigns and it won't even show up in the change history log. You have to go to that control center specifically and look at that change history log, not the main change history log, to see what Google has changed. So just be aware of that. Something if you get taking over a Google AdWords account, or if you have a client that you're managing their AdWords account for, the Google Ads account for, you definitely want to take a look at that. Google also has launched or is rolling out the Insights beta page to a bunch of people. It's rolling out now, and you might see in the next coming weeks. Google teased this a few weeks ago, and now it seems to be rolling out according to Google. Google's also testing subcategory links where it kind of like, you saw the sidebar version, but now it's kind of on the top, and you actually go click it will anchor you down to like the reviews section, to the product section, to the overview section of the search results. So Google's kind of categorizing and subcategorizing and sectioning off different sections of the search result page by subject, I guess. I think I've seen this before, but here's another screenshot of it. Microsoft is relaunching their advertising community and forums. They've done this a few times, I believe, and now it's relaunching under a new platform. So if you are in Microsoft advertising, you want help from community and forum members, as well as Microsoft advertising reps, you can definitely get that over there. Talking about community, the Google Webmaster blog has moved locations. In the last week, we discussed how Google Webmaster Central is now Google Search Central, and now the blog has moved as of, I think, yesterday. So it's at a new location as well, the new layout and so forth. Google has also quietly launched a small business advisor section where you can actually get free help from people around Google tools like My Business, ads, and so forth. That is free through the end of the year, and then after that, it's like $39 per, I guess, piece of advice. Microsoft seems to be testing in Bing search a green secure ad label. It's also being tested in gray. Here's some screenshots. Google has an Easter egg for Thanksgiving. If you search for Thanksgiving, or you go to Google Translate, and you can actually translate things into turkey language. And when you type in anything, it tells you gobble. So, and then you can actually hit the audio version, and it will actually say gobble gobble in turkey language. And another Easter egg, which is really nice, is for Alex Trebek, who passed away a week or so ago. If you do a search for Alex Trebek, Google will say, who is Alex Trebek, which is a really nice touch. In any event, thank you so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SERoundtable.com over the past week. Again, thanks to our sponsor, Loud. Everyone have a great weekend. And again, today is Friday, November 20th. Great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving next week. I'll see you guys next. Goodbye.